In this video, I am going to go over how to move a Django model to a different Django app. I have a Django REST framework application in my directory. This concept will also apply to just regular Django apps. If you look at my directory, I have a quick start app, and inside the quick start app, let's look at our models file. In the models file, I have a category model, which represents the category of the articles, and I have a author and an article model that has a many-to-many relationship, and you can see that the many-to-many field, it's under articles model. So this means that in order for authors to access the articles model, we're using a reverse accessor, and that reverse accessor can be defined by a related name field in the many-to-many field. And in this case, we didn't define it, so that means we're using the default, and I will show you what that name is later in the video. Once you have this project downloaded in your local directory, the first thing that you want to do is you want to run the migration so that you can create the database. So you will run the migrate command, and all the migration is created. Then you want to run the load data command to load the initial data that I have created for this project. Okay, so now, so you should probably run python manage.py run server. We can go over to our browser to check out one of the APIs. So if you go to localhost 8000 API/articles/author/Tom, you'll only get a single instance. And if you actually look at the database, if you go to /API/articles, you'll notice that we have 3 different books. We have 3 different articles in this API. And I just realized the title is called Book 1, Book 2, and it should probably call Article 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so let's go back to our code, and I'm gonna stop my server for now. So let's assume that we want to move our articles model into a new app. So let's first create that new app. I'm going to use the Django admin command. The new app is going to be called blog. Once the blog is created, you'll notice that we have a new directory called blog. So let's copy this articles model and then go to our models.py under blog and then paste that in there. So once we pasted that in there, we want to update the reference to author and category. So we want to import those in this file. In this case, instead of importing, let's use lazy reference in Django to reference those models. So to do that, we can use a string, and inside the string, we want to state the app label. In this case, it would just be the name of the app. In this case, it would be quick start, and then we will use dot, the name of the model, which is author. And then same thing with category. It's going to be inside the quotes. It will be quick start dot category. So this is called lazy reference. And if you want to learn more about it, please look at the Django documentation. The reason we want to use these is because if you have a lot of Django models, sometimes you might want to use different models from different apps. And in order to avoid circular imports, you can use lazy reference to do that. Okay, so once we have these updated, let's try to see if we can migrate our database. So the first thing we want to do, since we've modified our model.py file, is we want to make a migration to create the migration file. And it says no migration detected. And I believe that's because we need to add this new app that we created into our settings.py file. So let's go to settings.py, and under installed apps, we want to include our new app called blog. Okay, so once that's created, let's open up our admins.py file. Let's register our blog.models and then import articles so that these can show up in our admin page. Admin.site.register, and we want to register our articles from our blog app. So once that's done, if we go back to the terminal, make migration again, there's still an error. And this error, it has to do with the DB table. So there's multiple models using the name article. And this makes sense because inside our quick start app, we're using the DB table name article. We're also using the name article in our blog, the article model. We need to make an update to our table name. And there's other error messages. I just fix this one by one. So in this table here, this is our blog application. And this article here, we'll just call it blog_article. So now this is different than the article in here, right? Because we defined the DB table name to be article. So in this case, we've defined another table name called blog article. So there is no conflict. So let's go ahead and run our make migration command one more time. Now this is a different message. So we've resolved the previous one. Now there's a new message. And in this case, it's saying that the reverse accessor author.articles.set is basically clashes with the reverse accessor in the quick start app, right? Like I mentioned before, if we go to our code here, many fields, since we didn't define a related name, Django is using the default related name as the accessor. Therefore, this conflicts with the one that we already have in the quick start app. So what we can do is we can just define a related name. And the convention I like to follow when we define the related name is I will start with the name of the field. In this case, would be authors underscore. I will use the Django app label, and then don't forget the S, and then percent class, and then S. So basically this essentially would be authors underscore app label will be blog, and then dot the class name in lowercase, it will be article. So this is how we will reference the articles object from the authors model. Oh, this would be a underscore instead of dot. There we go. And we need to do the same thing with category. So in this case, related name equal to this would be category underscore app label. Okay, so now they both have a related name. And following this convention means that all the related names will be different if you define it this way, because they're all going to be a different app label with a, could be the similar class name, but the app label will most likely different. So if we go back, clear this real quick and run the make migration, as you can see, now the model is created. And once the migration file is created, now we can run a migrate command to actually apply the migration file to the actual database. As you can see, the migration is applied successfully. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at our database. And if you look at the database, you'll notice that we created two tables, blog article and blog article authors. So this blog article authors is called the bridge table or the through table. It will represent our many-to-many relationship between author and article. And you'll notice that our old table is still here, and our old table will have data in it, but our new table wouldn't have data in it. It will be empty. So the next step that we want to do is we want to copy the data from our old table into our new table. And we can do that by using a custom migration script. So to generate a custom migration script, what we can do is we can use the make migration command. So python manage.py make migrations and define where you want to create your migration script. In this case, I want to create it in the app blog, and then I want to specify the flag empty. So we're going to create a empty migration script. As you can see, the migration script is created. So if we open up our blog migrations, you'll notice that we have a new file here. So let's rename that to be copy data. So once this file is created, let's open it. So in this file, we're going to write our own custom SQL script. The function that we're going to use is called migrations.runSQL. And in this function, we'll define a doc stream. And in this doc stream, we're going to write SQL commands that's separated by a semicolon. So the first command that I'm going to write, it's just a insert select command. So we're inserting into our new table with these values, and we're going to get those values from our articles table here, and we're selecting the same exact columns from the articles table. And in case you're wondering where I got these columns from, you can look at our database properties. If you look at the database properties for your article, go to properties, and you'll notice that that's where I get all those column names from. And you want to specify the columns that you want to copy. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the data from our bridge table. In this case, I'm inserting into the blog articles authors table. This is our new bridge table. And I want to copy the ID, article ID, and author ID from article underscore authors table. And this is our old bridge table. After that is done, so this is the forward migration part. And now let's define a reverse migration part. So this is going to be where we write the reverse SQL script. So this would be the opposite of what we just did. So we want to insert into our old table now, right, with the selected columns. And we're going to get our values from our new table when we do a rollback, right? And same thing with our bridge table here. We're just inserting into our old bridge table from our new bridge table. Okay, once that's done, we should be able to run a migration script to copy the data over. So since the migration script is already created, so we just need to run migrate. Migration file is applied to our database. So if we go back, I'm gonna close all this. So if we just refresh this, we should be able to see the data. You see that? The data is there for our bridge table. And let's see our blog articles. Same thing here for blog articles, our data is also there. So now that we have the data in our newly created tables, what we can do is we can update the references in our code so that it no longer points to the old article model. So let's do that. I'm going to close all these files first. Okay, so let's start with quick start / models.py file. First, let's just delete this article here since we no longer need it. And then let's update all the references. So in this case, this is still pointing to the article model. So we can, same thing, import it from blog, or we can use lazy reference. So in this case, blog.article. And I believe that's it. And in this case, if you have a larger project, just do a global search for all the places that references the model article, and then just make sure you import it from blog, or making sure you're changing the lazy reference to the correct reference. Next, let's go to our serializer in our quick start and making sure that we're importing from blog.models, import article. And we're also going to remove this article here since that's coming from the quick start article, and we no longer have a quick start article. So that's updated. Now let's look at the admins page, the admins file in quick start. Since we no longer have an article in the quick start app, we should probably remove that. Okay, so that's removed. And let's see what. Oh, and also our views.py in our quick start. So no longer coming from quick start. It should be blog.models, import article, and then remove the article up there. And that should be all the references. So let's go ahead and start our server. Oh, before we can start our server, since we made updates to our models file, if you recall, if we went back to our models, we removed the articles model from our quick start models, and also we updated the reference in this foreign key here. So now we need to make a migration. So Python manage.py make migrations, and as you can see, we in this migration file we altered the article on comment, and we also deleted that model. Now let's apply the migration, and that is applied. So if we go back to our database, we should be able to see that. So we're still so if we refresh this, you notice that the two models is gone. The article and article_authors model is gone. Okay, so now that's gone. Let's go back and start our server. Python manage.py run server, and let's refresh this page to see if this still works. So it errors out saying that author object has no attribute article set. Remember, article set is the default name for the related name or for the reverse accessor. Since we updated our reverse accessor, that means we need to update that in our views.py file. So open up the quick start / views.py file, and if you go to the get query set in our article by authors view, you'll notice that we're still referencing the old related name, but the new related name is author. It's author_2. It's actually authors_2_blog_lowercase article. So now that's updated. This is still not working. Okay, authors to blog article, no attribute authors to blog article. Okay, so the first thing let's check is the models file. That's in our blog, models.py in our blog, and that is authors_. So I usually do authors2_. So I'm just gonna actually do that. I'm going to actually change that real quick since we changed our models file again. So that means we have to make migration. So let's do make migration one more time, and then make an update, and then migrate those migrations. Okay, so now that's updated. Let's run our server again. Okay, so let's go back to our views to just double check. Okay, so this is authors2. So technically, if you didn't do that step, you can set authors to be just authors_. That should work too. But I like the convention with a 2. That's why I made that change. So if I refresh one more time, you'll notice that the result is still the same. You know, we're getting one item for the author Tom. And yeah, that's it. And what we can do, one last step, is we can check if our reverse migration will work. So in this case, we can run the migrate command, specify which app you want to roll back. In this case, let's roll back on the blog app, and then specify which migration that you want to roll back on. In this case, I want to roll back before any migration has been applied in the blog app. So that means I just state the value 0. That means we're going to the very beginning when nothing even happened. Okay, so if I do that, then as you can see, the rollback worked, right? And then if I forward migrate again, everything still works as well. So in the next video, I'm going to show you guys how rollback works, since when we roll back on the database, we also need to roll back in our code. And that's what I'm going to do in the next video. Thanks for watching.